everybody, it's the War Hipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting Maugan Ra, the Phoenix Lord of the Dark Reapers. Here he is. He's awesome. He's had such a great glow up, and I'm very excited to paint him for all of you today. So, without further ado, we are going to jump in and start painting him. Now, the first colour we're going to be using is roughly 4 parts Shyish Purple to 1 part Contrast Medium. What I mean by this is we're taking 4 brush loads of Shyish Purple and then just filling it down a little bit with some Contrast Medium. This is just to improve the flow, because we're going to be using this on quite large areas of the model, and we want this to be a nice smooth finish. Now, the areas we are going to be using this on are the cloak and the hair. We're going to be doing it on the inside, and we're going to be doing it on the outside. The outside of the cloak will be black, but the inside of it is going to be this sort of purpley pinky colour. So we want this to be nice and smooth, hence why we're filling it down with a little bit of Contrast Medium. Now, with all that in mind, what we're going to do is we're just going to pick a place to start, and I'm going to start just here on this front tabard, just like this, getting it all over, using these nice, smooth, big broad brush strokes. So with that Shyish Purple applied, don't worry about adding the black just yet. We've got a number of different layers we're going to do, but in the interest of saving ourselves some time, what we're going to do is we're going to get all of our pre-shades on for all of our different blacks, because we've got 3 different colours of black here on this model. So, with that in mind, what we're going to do now is we're going to take some Leviadon Blue. I'm going to use this over the top of all of his armour. This is just areas such as his boots. Now, I know I've splodged a little bit of Shyish Purple on those boots. That's okay. We are going to be covering over it, so it's not the end of the world. There's the odd little mistake. But of course, if you want to, you can correct them before applying this. We're just going to get this over all of his armour, excluding all of the bone details, because those are going to be a bone colour. So just take your time, keep an eye on the box art. If you're not sure about any details, you can also check out the product photography on the Games Workshop website. And so with that Leviadon Blue applied, we're then going to take some Basilicanum Grey. I'm going to paint this over all of his armament. So this is going to be over the top of the large gun. There's also going to be over the top of these magazines just here. So just start there, just get it out of the way. Like that. And now we'll work on the gun. So with that done, it is now time to darken it down and also change the tone a little bit of some of these areas. The first thing we are going to do is we are going to be changing the tone of the inside of the cloak and the hair. Now the colour we're going to be using for this is Volupus Pink. what we're going to do is we're just going to take some Volupus Pink straight out of the pot, just like this. And we're just going to paint it over the top of our Shyish Purple. Just like that. And as you can see, it immediately changes the property of it, but it gives us that really nice dark pink that we're after. With these details. And so with that Volupus Pink applied, it's now time to grab that Black Templar. I'm going to put this over all of the remaining areas that we want to be black. This is going to be the outside of the cloaks, the blue armour, and the grey gun. So with that done, he's taken a massive leap forward, as you can see. So what we're going to do now is we are going to continue moving on. We're going to be painting in some more base coats. Now, the next one is going to be the majority of the bone. Now, it's not all of it. It's going to be, we're leaving things like the blade up here, the skulls, and his helmet. There's going to be a slightly different colour. But for the rest of it, what we're going to do is going to make a roughly 6 parts contrast medium to 1 part Wyldwood mix. I'm going to use this over the top of all of the remaining bone details. So, down here on the leg, I'm just going to start painting that over, just like this. Now, just be careful, because it is very, very runny. And just take your time. Don't use too much on your brush. You don't want to drown any of these details. Just be nice and methodical. Make sure you work it into all of those areas as well. And just work your way up the model. I'm starting on the legs to make sure that we don't miss anywhere. And then I'll make my way up. As I say, this is going to be all of those bone details, excluding those skulls and the blade at the end of the gun. I should point out that that does mean both shoulder pads, if I didn't already, and the one at the top as well. So with that Wyldwood mix applied to all of those bones, as you can see, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Gryph-Charger Grey and we're going to apply this to our remaining bone details, so that all those skulls. Now, it might not look right, but trust me. Trust me, it will. And so with that done, we're then going to take a tiny amount of Wyldwood. That's way too much. I'm going to paint this over the wrap, just up here, on the hair. So with that done, believe it or not, we've just got one last base coat left to apply to Maugan Ra. And this is going to be some Retributor Armour for all of our gold details. Now, there's quite a few gold details. They are scattered around. So what we want to do is just very again, just take our time, working our way around the model, making sure we pick them all out. When we're picking out all of the areas such as the gems, any little runic devices he's carrying, and any other details you wish to be gold. For example, this kind of central area. On the gun. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to apply some shades and highlights, but we're going to start with some of the highlights before we get onto some of the shades. And, well, the ones we're going to start with are on all the cloaks. Now the colour we're going to be using first for this is Daemonette Hide, and as you can see I've already made a start. But what we're going to be doing is we are going to be highlighting all of our soft details, just picking out all of the edges. Just like this. And so with that Daemonette Hide applied, what we're now going to do is use Slaanesh Grey. Please forgive me. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this on the sharpest corners of our areas that we've just highlighted. With the Daemonette Hide. So with that done, all of our black cloaks are now finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to all of the black armour. And the colour we're going to be using for this is Thunderhawk Blue. We just want to pick a place to start. I'm just going to start here on the hand. We're just going to pick out all of the edges with the Thunderhawk Blue. Just like this. So with that done, all of the armour is finished. There's not a lot of it, and what we do have, we want it to be really, really dark. So what we're going to do now is move on to highlighting all of the remaining black details. So this is the weapon and these magazines down here. And the colour we're going to be using for this is Dawnstone. What we're going to do, just as we've already done, is we're just going to start running this Dawnstone along all the edges. Just like this. And so with that done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Administratum Grey. I'm going to apply this to the corners of the weapon. So with that done, all of our black details are now finished, and well, it's time to move on. So the next colour we're going to be moving on to, just going to close it because I've already got the paint out, is Pink Horror. I'm going to be using this to do a very, very fine highlight on the hair and also the interior of the robe. So we're just going to grab a tiny amount of this black Pink Horror on our brush. I'm just going to be very carefully adding a highlight. Just like this. So with that done, our pink details are now finished. So what we're going to do is move on to highlighting all of the bone. Now we're going to start with the darker bone, and then we're going to do the brighter parts, and then we'll finish off with the gold. So the first colour we're going to be using is Ushabti Bone, and we're going to be using this to highlight, as I said, all of that darker bone. And we're just going to be very carefully picking out the edges of all of our bone details. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down grey Seer, and we're going to use this to effectively re-layer out our whiter skulls, just avoiding anywhere where our Gryph-Charger Grey has really settled. We're going to be doing the same thing on the blade up here. But for now, just down here on the skull, what we're going to do is we're just going to start picking out the edge, just there, like that. Then we're just going to move on to the flat just there. Like this. Similarly up here on the blade. So with that grey Seer applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Pallid Witch Flesh, and we're going to use this to highlight all of our bone. So what we're going to do on the darker bone is we're just going to use this as a little cheeky spot highlight, just on the sharpest points. Just like that. And on our white bone, I'm going to use this as a proper full highlight. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're just going to add that little bit of kind of blending that you can see on the blade, on the box art. The colour we're going to be doing that with is Space Wolves Grey. And what we're going to do is just very simply, we're just going to take some Space Wolves Grey on our brush, just like this, that sort of amount. We're just going to apply a little bit to this end, and then we're going to feather it out. So we're just going to add this Space Wolves Grey here, up until around about there, like that. Wash the brush, and then we're just going to lift off and move around and feather away at the end like that, so it gets this fade from the darker to the lighter. Same again on this top part just here. So we're just going to add this Space Wolves Grey. Like that. Wash the brush. And just lift off that excess. Like that, smoothing out that transition. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to shade that gold. And the colour that we're going to be using for this is Fyreslayer Flesh. I just want to get this all over all of those gold details. Just like this. And so with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to highlight all of those gold details. So the colour we're going to be using for that is Canoptek Alloy. And we're just going to start picking out all of the edges. So with that Canoptek Alloy applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Stormhost Silver. And we're going to use this to highlight along the gun edge. So this section just here. Like that. But we're also going to use this to pick out all of our blue gems. Now our blue gems are basically on the top half of his body. So we've got the one here on the forehead. We've got this one here on top of the gun. And we've got the two just around here, like that. The rest of the gems below are going to stay as they are, because they are going to be red. So with that done, it is now time to colour in those gems. And well, the colour we're going to be using first is Flesh Terror's Red, and this is going to be for all of those red gems around the bottom half of him. So that one just there. This one here. Like that. Got the two on the belt back here as well. So with that Flesh Terror's Red applied, we then take some Akhelian Green. I'm going to use this for all of our blue gems. So with that done, we're now just going to highlight those gems, starting with all the red ones. The colour I'm going to be using for that is Jokaero Orange. You just want to paint a really subtle little line highlight around the bottom right corner. Just like that. So with that Jokaero Orange applied, I'm then going to do exactly the same thing on all the blue gems, but with some Baharroth Blue. And so as a final flourish, we're just going to take a tiny dot of Corax White. I'm going to put this at the pinnacle opposite where we've added our little highlights across all of our gems. Just like this. So with that done, Maugan Ra is finished and he looks absolutely fantastic. All that's left to do is his base. Now, of course, you can do this any way that you wish. However, if you want to follow along with what I'm going to do, you absolutely can. So, the first colour I'm going to be using for the base is Basilicanum Grey. I'm going to be using this on all of the stonework. So we've got these kind of paving stones down here. Like that. And like that. What I'm also going to be doing is using this Basilicanum Grey on the kind of borders of the Eldari ruin. Like that. I'm also going to be using it over the top of the vines. So with that done, what I'm going to do is we're going to take some skeleton horde. I'm going to use this to paint in the skeleton. Like so. And what we're also going to do is going to use the skeleton horde to paint in the runic parts of the ruin. As well. And with that done, what I'm going to do is going to take some black Templar. I'm going to apply this over the top of the vines. So with that done, at this point, it's generally a good idea to now colour in all of that negative space. And, well, the colour I'm going to be using for this is Armageddon Dust. I'm just going to get this all over. Just like this, just going right up to that sculpted detail. So with that done, we're now just going to apply a very gentle shading of Skeleton Horde to all of our Armageddon Dust. Just like that, just so it's not flat. And so with that done, just to finish it off, we're going to give the whole base a gentle dry brush of Tyrant Skull. Just like this. And then all you have left to do is to paint the rim in the choice of your army. And add any other extras, such as tufts, to the base.
And so, Maugan Ra, Phoenix Lord of the Dark Reapers, is now finished. And he looks absolutely stunning. Those 3 different black recipes that we've got on there combining together to make something that is truly sinister. And I'm very, very, very pleased with that bone colour, how it's come out. I think it looks fantastic. Really, really, really well captured, this model, particularly with the glow up. Love it from Games Workshop, as always, as everything they do. And I'm really excited to see what more stuff comes for the Eldar in the future. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you want to support me further like these legends and bosses on the screen before you, you can do so. Head to patreon.com/warhipster or head to ko-fi.com/warhipster. Alternatively, you can now become a YouTube channel member by heading to the channel page and clicking on the join button just here, just like these absolute bosses have done. And if you just want to shoot me a little thanks, just because you really love this video, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.